What's up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida, coming at you live every Wednesday at 8 p.m., going over the market stats, the news you need to know about if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing here in the area. And we're also doing a Q&A. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire them off in the comments below. If you're watching it live, you're watching a replay, make sure you fire off comments because one, it helps me in the algorithm, but also it'll help someone else, not only yourself, that has the same exact questions. Like I said, I try to do this every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way just because of our schedules. Last week I was in Puerto Rico and I was flying into Jacksonville when I was supposed to be scheduled live. But we're here today and we're going to go ahead and start off by asking everyone, like we do every single week, where you're watching from. Are you watching here locally? Because if you are, I'd love to hear some of your comments on the things that I'm going to be covering today, especially today. But if you're looking to relocate to our area, like many of you are, I'd love to know where you're watching from and why you're looking to relocate to St. Augustine. Is it because you don't like where you live or you just like here better? Love to know in the comments below. Please shoot them off because it does help me out. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into the Market Distillery stats, which is a resource that I have here. You can follow them on Instagram as well at the Market Distillery. Really a great resource for consumers, but also for people like myself. I'm a part of his coaching program here, so it really helps us break down the market in a way that is easier to understand for people, right? So he puts together some really great stuff just to give an idea for people of what's happening. So the market balance, if I remember correctly, we were ticking back towards the buyers, and really what this is here is the absorption rate of homes. So it's not working correctly, but 3.83 months of inventory on the market. So typically we say that we are in a buyer's market or a balanced market above 4 months of inventory. So what that means, the absorption rate is like, hey, if we were to stop selling homes right now, no other homes are going on the market. All the homes that are on the market, which is roughly about 6,900 homes, would sell completely within 3.83 months based on how many people are coming into our market, right? Or how many people are buying homes. So before, several years ago, it was fully on the seller side, right? The sellers had all the leverage. There, multiple offers on every single property, and tons of buyers out there because interest rates are 3%. Now things have slightly changed. We're seeing things start to kick back more towards the buyers, which is a good thing if you are looking to buy a home in our area. So let's go ahead and cover some of the notes here. So 2023 is complete and ended on a relatively positive note. Mortgage rates continue to decline. This sets the market up for an action-packed start in 2024. And for me, one thing that I can look at that really I think helps me gauge is looking at my YouTube analytics, right? So I could see as interest rates started to climb, the interest in YouTube and St. Augustine in general also started to decline. But as they started to go up, and as we entered into the winter months, more people are sitting at home. The cold starts to change some people's mind, like I got to get out of here type of situation. I'm starting to see all of my analytics ramp back up. If not, they've actually doubled over the past month. And typically, if I were to give a life cycle of most people that reach out to me from my YouTube channel, it's probably going to be about 3 months before they transact on anything. So if that's telling me anything, it's telling me that the spring market is going to be hotter. We've already entered into January pretty hot for myself and my wife, better than we were last year, which is pretty insane. But we also do a good bit of marketing and a little bit different than most agents. So we're thankful for that. Inventory remained limited, falling 5% compared to last month. Active listings were 10% below December of last year, highlighting the shortage of homes for sale in our market. Home prices finished the year 6% higher than the same time last year. This shows the market strength as the real estate in Northeastern Florida held up under the pressure of rising rates. Days on market creeped up with many of the homes for sale sitting longer during the holiday season. Also, sellers regained some power given the tick up in closings and decline in inventory, which leaves buyers with fewer choices. So like I said, we were ticking more towards the buyers, but then it seemed to go back. And that was a decline of interest rates that we saw. And it's been, I think, it was 9 straight weeks or 10 straight weeks of interest rate declines. And now we've seen them kind of steady around 6.5, 6.6. So I have a buyer that locked in at 6.49, which is a good interest rate. So we take a look at rates here, right? So December 6.42, we're kind of back in that same area, 6.61, right? So really back in the same area we were about a year ago. When we were hitting this 7.79, it hit 8% at one point. That was a scary time for a lot of people, and people just were like, yeah, I'll wait. This is too much, especially with prices going like this, then the interest rates following it. It made that monthly mortgage payment really unaffordable. So we'll start to see the Fed, says they're going to cut rates 3 times this year. When they do cut the rates, that should affect the 10-year Treasury, and we should see mortgage rates start to decline this year. But no one knows for sure, right? But if they stay in the 6.5% range, I honestly think that we're still going to have a very strong market here, especially when you gauge this past year, right? So this past year, we've had 8% rates, pretty much higher rates than we've had before. And now we're down at 6.5% now, and we're starting to see an uptick in the market where things really remain flat. But median sale price overall, we're up 6% year over year, right? And that's pretty amazing when you think about that. Now, this is talking about northeastern Florida as a general, right? So like St. Johns County is going to be a little bit different. Nassau County is going to be a little bit different. Duval, every different area, especially when you're looking at smaller subdivisions, is going to be a little bit different. But in general, our median sale price for northeastern Florida has continued to rise. But before it was so low. Before the pandemic, I was talking about that with someone today, another realtor in our area. And just like before the pandemic, everything cash flowed here in northeastern Florida. Everything, pretty much. I mean, you look at this market, we were just so affordable, but so cheap. And we'll see demand here. So days on market, December 2023, 41 days, up from 39 this time last year. So really, that's a month and a half on the market. That's really no time at all. That is a significant change. So just to cover that, I also want to hop on here and just show you how many homes we have on the market. There's probably, I think Jacksonville, so 6,787. I was about 100 off. But 6,787 homes on the market. As we go into March, I do expect that to tick up a little bit. When it goes into the holiday season, a lot of people don't want to sell their home. Now people are getting back into the swing of things. So once we hit spring, I imagine that number to tick up a little bit. But we, with the lock-in rate, it really just depends on interest rates, right? Our interest rate's going to get to a point where the people that have those 3, 4, and 5% interest rates are like, yeah, you know what? Let me give up what I have over here to go over here, because really that's what's keeping people sitting around not doing much. So, excuse me here. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, or a flu, whatever. Not sure. Ortiz is watching from West Augustine. Got here a couple of days ago. Beautiful, Ortiz. Glad you're watching. Hope you're enjoying West Augustine. We're actually going to cover something in today's live about West Augustine, so I hope you stick around for it. I think it's going to, if it happens, it's going to be even better. If you see what's going on in West Augustine, it's an even better thing. So thank you for joining us here tonight. So let's head into the news stories. So let's head into the important news that you guys need to know about. And I'm going to share my screen here. Excuse me. Get some water real quick. All right. So as we like to do, I try to like to go like national to Florida to local. So let's take a look here. Home builder sentiment improves for second straight month following drop in mortgage rates. So home builder sentiment improved in January, jumping 7 points to 44 on the National Association of Home Builders monthly index. It's at the highest level since September. It's obviously because there's been a big drop in mortgage interest rates. And that is definitely something that is really interesting to me because they haven't had the best confidence in the market with the interest rates going down. But the builders are the guys who are winning right now because they're offering the best incentives. They have the profit margin to offer the rate buy downs to pay the closing costs. There's builders right now that are offering like sub 5% interest rates on homes. And when you're looking at a 4.99% interest rate versus a 6.5% interest rate, you could be looking at a resale that you love, but if you're just looking at your monthly payment, you're like, you know what, I'm going to go new construction. And I feel bad for a lot of my loan officer partners because it's kind of the game here, and they get pre-approved. There's buyers shopping, and then they say, oh, you know what? We stumbled across this new construction community. They're buying down our interest rate, which cost like $20,000 to do so if you're, to make that big jump from 6.5 to 5.5 or 4.5. And they're paying my closing costs, right? So if you're buying a $500,000 home here, closing costs on average are going to be about 3.5%. So you're going to be paying $16,000 to $18,000 on your closing costs. That's just cash out of your pocket. That's not your down payment. That's a lot of money, right? So for a lot of people, that is the best deal in the market. So home builder sentiment to me is interesting because like they've been doing fine. They've been doing just fine. They've been selling homes like crazy comparatively to just like if I were to sell my house, I don't have that profit margin to give that to people, right? Or I don't want to give my equity away. So it's a lot harder of a sell for just your everyday seller versus your new construction builder. But let's go ahead and head on to the next news story. If you do have any questions about that, guys, love to hear what you have to say. Excuse me. My gosh. All right, so this is something that's going to happen probably, but I don't know if I want it to happen. And Ortiz, if you're watching this, let me know what you think about this because you're down here in West Augustine now. You're familiar with the waterfront, I imagine. High traffic waterfront area and center of tourism is St. Augustine could get a makeover. So they're talking about this area right here. They want to redo the seawall, and this is a really bad picture. I mean, come on, it is 2024 now. I mean, this has got to be taken with like an iPhone 6. Like, this is terrible. I mean, look, come on. Like, if you're a reporter, shame on you. But essentially what they want to do is they want to change the seawall. They want to build like a coquina seawall that's a little bit higher. They want to lower the walkway. And hopefully that helps with flooding. Will it? I don't know. I mean, probably not. Let's be honest. But they also want to address some safety issues. So really, if you're walking around here, you have kids or something like that, or maybe a dog, you got to watch out because dogs are funny and kids are funny. They'll jump off the thing. And it's just all oyster beds pretty much right under that seawall. So they're going to get hurt, right? But it also does give that old charm feel, right? And that's one thing about downtown St. Augustine that I really enjoy. I mean, you could, when I was a kid, we would go and drink on the fort wall, right? We go and drink and hang out there and look at the stars. And there's no security. I mean, there's people that will come by once in a while, police, but there's no one just hanging out there, right? So, I mean, it's just, to me, it seems like something that like, hey, let's not mess with this because we got a good thing going. And even that, I really actually enjoy that it's open, right? Because it does make it feel older. But do I understand the safety aspect of it? Yes. What do you guys think? Should we keep it as is? Should we just maybe clean it up a little bit? Or should we add maybe like a 4-foot wall that's going to also potentially hold out some floodwaters, but make it a little bit safer for everyone? I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe I'm one of those locals now. I'm just angry about everything happening, but who knows? Let's see. We got a comment here. Ahmed, let's see what you got to say. Ahmed Khalil, excuse me. If building a home in Nocatee, will the district allow me to enroll a child in the school zone for the home is being built? I plan to rent in the county while the home is being constructed. Yes. So you just need to show them your contract, and they should allow you to put your kid in that school, because then it doesn't make sense because you're going to be renting. And I would rent as close as you can to that school district, regardless. It's just going to be easier on you, but it doesn't necessarily make sense for your kid, right? So to be in like one school and then they got to transfer to another school. It's just not, as a parent, I'm sure you're like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. So that's why you want to do something like that. But yeah, if you are looking to build a home in Nocatee, let me know. We've definitely helped a couple customers out there, and I'd love to be able to help you out, Ahmed. I hope that helped you out. But yeah, if you have an executed contract, you should be able to just bring that to the school and you should be good to go. So hope that helps. That's a great question, by the way. That's a deep dive question there. I like it. All right, so on to the next news story here. Let's go. Man, I had no problems with my voice pretty much all day, and now it's popping up, right? I'm milking it for the camera. All right, so if you guys have been to St. Augustine, if you've lived here for a little bit, you used to know that outside the public library off of US 1 was off of US 1 in really like uptown St. Augustine, north of downtown St. Augustine, there used to be a carousel, right? And for the most part in that park, really just ended up being a lot of homeless people sleeping around. And then when I was a kid, it was the same way. I went on the carousel once, by the way. We'd hop on the carousel, and then my sister went to the library, and then that was it. But how fun is the carousel? It's really not that fun at all. As a kid, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool and interesting because the noises and lights and colors and all that kind of stuff. But it goes in circles, and you do it once, you've done it 100 times. So essentially, they had this carousel there for years. They since have moved it, right? They moved it out, and I think they sent it to Tampa or somewhere on the west coast of Florida. It's still an existing carousel, and another person is looking to bring it back. He's looking to give 15% of the profit to the city, and he's also looking to put an ATM out there so he can charge. I think it's going to be a cash business. I don't know. Personally, to me, I think it's a waste of space. I don't want to shit on this guy's dreams of bringing the carousel back, but like, to me, it's like, I think there's 1,000 different things you could do that would actually be more entertainment for St. Augustine than a carousel. And it's also the location of it too is not necessarily where like a lot of tourists would go. Maybe they'd stumble upon it and be like, oh, that's cute, let's go check it out. But I'd say that's few and far between. Probably be more locals going to the public library, let their kids go on it and stuff like that. But how good of a business venture it would be, I'm not sure. It obviously got moved for a reason the last time. I'm not sure why someone would want to put it there again. But it is kind of a cool thing to drive by and see and be like, oh yeah, there's the old carousel. So what do you guys think? You think that's a good idea? You think carousels are whack, or am I whack? Do I just not enjoy the finer things in life? I don't know. What do you guys think? I think a carousel really wouldn't do much for St. Augustine. I think there's a ton of things. Let's talk about like traffic. The horse and buggies are cool. I love them, but they need to make a different route. They're on King Street. They're slowing up the traffic. They're on A1A, slowing up the traffic. Doesn't make sense. We don't have enough space for it. But it's I don't know. I think that's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you want to spend the money to do it, go ahead, get the approval. But do I really see it being anything special? No, I don't. Am I crazy, guys? Let me know in the comments below. On to the next news story, guys. I got 3 more for you, and 3 more are important. I actually like this one here. Let's see. Goodness. A tremendous opportunity. West Augustine residents push to create local African American museum. So, of course, I'll have all these links in the description once this video is done. But organizers want to bring a museum focusing on Black history in Florida to West Augustine community, but the plan must first be approved by Florida lawmakers. So there's a couple of different cities that are in contention for this, right? And I honestly think this is a fantastic opportunity for West Augustine, because West Augustine is a historically Black community, right? And that's the same, like St. Augustine as well has tons of Black history that most people are unaware of, right? Martin Luther King Day just passed. Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement was huge here in St. Augustine. St. Augustine wasn't always the nicest place that it is today, especially to Black people, right? Lincolnville, which is now one of the nicest neighborhoods in St. Augustine, used to be called Little Africa, right? And that used to be like a Black community. It used to be Flagler College students living there. Now it's pretty much all short-term rentals, $1 million homes, investors all went in there, bought everything up. And so that's changed pretty drastically. So West Augustine now is seeing a whole bunch of development. We're seeing more investors move in. We're seeing a whole bunch of different people move in. I moved into West Augustine. I think it's a great little community. They're looking to build an African American museum, and I'll show you where they're looking to build it. Pull up the map here. I'm not sharing my screen. Give me 1 sec. I'll show you what's going on here. Okie dokie. All right. So just to justify, so this is Lincolnville here, right? This is the community we just talked about. West Augustine, I'd consider anywhere west of US 1, south of State Road 16, east of 95, and north of 207. So this is the West Augustine pocket over here. What they're talking about is building that museum. So right here is a little park. It's right across from the St. Johns County Fire Station. Apparently there used to be a college here. I think Florida Memorial College used to be here and was a staple of the West Augustine community. And they still own all this land over here. So that's one of the things that may make this more of a viable opportunity, because there's other cities that want this Black History Museum, just like St. Augustine does, but we have the land to give them right here. also on top of that, we have a huge tourism industry based off of history. And it'd be, I mean, that's probably, I live a mile from downtown, my house right here. I live a mile from downtown St. Augustine. So that's probably 2 miles from downtown St. Augustine. So that's a quick trip right up there just to the Black History Museum. And with the development we've seen along the West King corridor, I think that would be a fantastic ad. It would bring more people that way, add more money to the businesses that are sitting right there. So I'm really stoked on that. I think that would be a fantastic ad to the area. But what do you guys think? You think that's a good move? Do you think a museum like that will get a lot of foot traffic? I don't know. Let's see. We got Ortiz here. Ortiz says, I love the way it looks now. I hope they don't cover the view with a wall. Have you heard anything about the construction on the Lions Bridge? So I think you're talking about like how they're trying to reroute the traffic over there. I covered it a couple weeks ago, and nothing's been passed yet, but they're talking about making like a roundabout situation right at it's like a loop-de-loop. It's not even a roundabout. It's the wildest thing. Right at the intersection of King Street and A1A, right before you go over the Lions Bridge. Doesn't make sense to me, honestly. Like I said, just get rid of the, not even get rid of the horse and buggies, just change their path a little bit, right? Because as of right now, their path like pretty much goes through the most trafficked areas of downtown St. Augustine. So it's like, why not just change it just slightly so you can still get a beautiful view of the city, because it's very doable, but not in the main trafficked areas. Like the school buses shouldn't be driving through that area with horse and buggies, and then also all the tourism. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I appreciate it. Ortiz, thank you. You're firing off the comments. Guys, be more like Ortiz. I think the museum is a great idea also. Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke before and you said you're looking, if you already bought or if you're looking to buy in West Augustine, I'm definitely stoked on it. So I think that'd be a good ad. I hope it works out. West Augustine has a lot of great things going on right now, and I hope it continues for this community. So, all right, I got 2 more news stories here, guys. So make sure you fire off those questions. I'm here. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So my voice is going. So this is something new and funny that happened in Florida. I should have covered this first, but how do you feel about anyone under 18 years old needing a license to drive a golf cart in St. Johns County? Oh my gosh. They approved a second reading of golf cart ordinance on Tuesday, requiring anyone 18 years old or younger to possess a valid learner's or driver's license in order to operate one. This matches the state law that passed this last year. The previous law only required that a golf cart driver be 14 years old to drive on public roads. But after a number of recent golf cart accidents, the new law was passed by the governor this year. So I also wonder how that's going to extend to golf cart communities, right? Because there's not really like police hanging around in these communities. It won't be policed at all for the most part. It'll still be, hey, go. If it was my kid, I'd be like, go ride. You're responsible. Go get on the golf cart. I don't want to drive you anywhere. But I wonder how that works. Like, are golf courses the same thing? Like, 14-year-old goes golfing. Can he ride in the golf cart? Like, drive it? I think that would make no sense. But here in northeastern Florida, we have a lot of these communities where you can get around by golf cart. You can take your kids to school in a golf cart. You can go to the grocery store in a golf cart. So what we're saying, you go to the amenity center in a golf cart. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that's good legislation? I think here, if I remember correctly, you can get your learner's permit at 15, right? So a lot different than a lot of other states. But 15 years old, you pretty much start learning to drive. So it's not like it's that big of a change, to be honest. But I mean, you'll drive, I drive around Nocatee a good bit. You just drive around there and you're like, you see these little kids driving around golf carts and they're having a great time, So I think their quality of life will be impacted slightly. But then again, like, are police going to enforce this? Probably not, right? So I think people will just do what they want anyway. We'll see. But let's see here. Looks like we got a couple more comments here. Bitey Cat says, I've been listening. Yes, museum is a great idea in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I think a museum over here would just bring more people from downtown. West Augustine has so much charm. It really does. And like, especially, all the new development down that I've covered, I won't go into detail now, but all the new development east of the train tracks here. It's awesome. You know, like they're even talking about putting a music venue down there. The person that owns Mugsy's, which is the bar down there, apparently bought the building close to it, and they're talking about putting a venue with a marquee there, which I think would be amazing. Like I'd be a 15-minute walk to a music venue, and like here in St. Augustine, we have the amphitheater. That's great, but we really don't have like a smaller indoor place like for local bands or anything like that. So I really think that would be a cool opportunity. Couldn't chat from the garage work. Well, I appreciate you commenting now about Bitey Cat. You're helping out the algorithm. You guys should be like Ortiz, Bitey Cat, and Ahmed. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. Now we got 10 people on here now. I only got one more news story, guys. So if you do have any questions, I'm here for the Q&A for the most part. But I think that all these news stories are important for you to know about. And this last one, it's a big one. So let me share this one here. All right. So Silverleaf ranked the 9th fastest growing master plan community in the entire United States. So this is Silverleaf, as you can see it here. It is a massive, massive subdivision. If you drive on, this is St. John's Parkway here. If you drive through here, it's just cleared land, subdivision, and it's like you can see the future of what they're trying to do here. But to give you a quick overview of it, so they based it off of sales with 902 sales in 2023. Travis Hudson, who is vice president for the Hudson Company, I believe he's also a state senator. Don't quote me on that. Maybe senator, congressman. He's in government in some form or fashion, right? Silverleaf saw a 25% increase in closed home sales and a 12% increase in average lot prices. It's between County Road 210 and State Road 16 in St. John's Parkway. It's comprised of approximately 11,000 acres. It has entitlements for 16,300 homes, 2.9 million square feet of mixed use and commercial space, and has more than 4,350 acres of conservation land. Woo! So it's going to be a big, big place, right? And I'm going to guess they probably have they sold about 900 homes. They probably have about 3,000 homes in there right now, right? So they've been building at a pretty good pace since they started the community, and pretty much, everything in there is brand new. The commercial space, the real estate, the homes for sale, of course, everything's real estate, and the schools, everything's brand new. And the amenity centers, everything is brand new. It's also one community that doesn't have a CDD, right? Most communities in our area have a CDD, which is a community development district, and that is a tax. It's paid along with your taxes, right? So it operates very similar to an HOA. But here in Silverleaf, you have an HOA of like $172 a month, right? When you're comparing that to, a Shearwater or a Rivertown, your HOA dues are somewhere between $300 and $500 a month, right? It's completely different. Those are completely different neighborhoods, much smaller. But Silverleaf is going to be, I think, and I made a video about it. You can search it on my channel, but I think it's going to rival the east coast of 95, which is Nocatee. Nocatee is another master plan community we talked about with the golf carts. And that's rated by niche.com, the #1 master plan community in the entire state of Florida. I think it's top 10 in the US. So with Silverleaf developing like it is, with all the builders moving, and they have like 8 different builders in Silverleaf right now, which is great. It's a lot of people complain about new construction communities because you go in there and a lot of the homes look exactly the same. They're like, oh, D.R. Horton built that home, that home, that home, that home, that home, that home. Whereas like they mix it up a little bit. You got 8 different builders in there, varying from price points from like mid-4s to like almost over $1 million, really. So there's something there for everyone. And with how new it is, I wonder if it's a good idea to get your foot in the door initially before it starts growing up. But I really think it's a cool community. And then you're close to Jacksonville. You're not too far away from downtown St. Augustine, probably about, depending where you are, 35, 40 minutes from downtown St. Augustine. From the beach, you're probably about 45 minutes. But it really just depends on how often you go to those places, right? The one thing you could say about like the northwestern part of St. Johns County is there's not too many food options, but like they said here, 2.9 million square feet of commercial space is coming. So like with the influx of 16,000 people living in one area, that's going to happen, right? You're going to have places to go eat. And some of the best restaurants are, I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. There's a place called Simone's Wood Fired Kitchen. So good. One of the best Italian restaurants in our area. And that's right off of State Road 16. But within Silverleaf, they're going to be opening these things, right? And if you look at Nocatee, I think that's a good kind of visual blueprint because that's pretty much all the way done already. If you look at Nocatee, they just put in like Catullo's, Catullo's is like, it's funny, is one of the best Italian restaurants in Jacksonville. Me and my wife went up there and we had dinner one night, and you would not expect it. It's in like one of the strip malls. Like, so there's like one of those green Walmarts, like the neighborhood Walmarts, a dry cleaner, and then Catullo's. And then we went right when it opened. There was a line out the door, and the whole place packed within the next like 10 minutes. And it's like, you know, white tablecloth, fine dining Italian in the strip mall. You just wouldn't expect it. So they open a place in Nocatee now, and apparently it's great. So either way, looks like we got some questions here, guys. So if you do have any questions, fire them off below. I'm going to do the Q&A session here. So I am losing my voice, so I don't know how many questions are going to be answered. But let's see here. 50 what? Nomad Travel Nurse Mountain Biker. We are still waiting on final approval for a home in Entrada. Same question as Kat. Can our daughter go to Otis Mason instead of the Webster? Yeah, the same thing. You should be able just to. I'm not sure by Kat. Did she ask a question? I'm not sure. I'm missing something there. But yeah, you should be able to just take the contract that you have and go to the school and be like, hey, listen, like I'm going to be, my home is closing X, then that should just be enough, right? For you to get into the schools there. Because then your kid's going to be pushed around to 2 different schools. They're going to start making friends over here, and then go over here and have to make new friends, right? Which at the end of the day, your kid will become more social and it's probably better, but you want to make it as easy as possible, especially, I think we talked before here, you're a traveling nurse, so you've probably moved around a good bit. So they're probably already very social. Probably make friends very easily. So yeah, you should just be able to show your real estate contract to them and they'll be good. So I should also say that with that, you're probably going to have to take her to school, or her daughter. Yeah. Okay. You're probably going to have to take her to school on your own. They're not going to create like a separate bus loop system for you. So pick up, drop offs, all going to be on you. And I should have mentioned that for Ahmed earlier. Didn't think about that right offhand, but okay. Growth is crazy there. Yeah. Silverleaf is, it's nuts. I mean, well, the growth in St. Johns County is just nuts. Real estate pricing. At the beginning of this live stream, I was talking about real estate pricing. I mean, pretty much everything you bought here in St. Johns County, everything you bought in Duval County was a cash flow. It was going to cash flow. Now, I was just talking to someone who's looking to invest from Miami. He's looking for long-term renters, and I'm like, you're not going to be able to, unless you're buying cash, and you're going to take a hit on your ROI. You're not going to really be able to cash flow or get a 10% ROI doing long-term rentals. Now, can you do that with short-term rentals? All day long. We have a big vacation rental market here. So, sorry. Okay. Yep. All right, guys. Well, hey, listen, if you have any questions, fire them off below. 4 minutes to school. Yeah. So that's not such a bad, that's not such a bad drive then. It's not a big deal. The pickup line is the thing you got to worry about, right? I see people waiting in that pickup line. I'm just like, oh my God, no wonder my mom never wanted to do that, right? She was working either way when I got out. I always had to ride the bus, but it was just like amazing. We see people waiting like a whole hour to pick up their kids, making sure they're getting there first in line so they can get out as soon as possible. But God, that seems like agony. It really does. I couldn't imagine doing that. But I probably will one day. So I hope you're not waiting in line like crazy. I hope it works out really well for you. But awesome, guys. Looks like we don't have any other questions here. I appreciate everyone here that chimed in, that helped out here with tonight's live stream. I'm going to be here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Going over the same type of information, all the relevant news stories that you need to know about if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing here in Northeastern Florida. If you are looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest, please reach out to me and my team directly. It's me and my wife, a transaction coordinator. We're actually thinking about bringing another person on this year, which is pretty exciting. Just because we've just doing stuff like this has has worked really well for us. So super excited for all you people reaching out to us. We really appreciate you guys. I hope this brings some value to you. Until next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, guys, I'll see you then.